After you've installed the YouBaze plugin, you can create your first contact form. But before I show you how that works, it will be handy to know that we use the info theme from Creasy. If you go to creasy.at, you will find that more than 177,000 WordPress websites use this theme, so it's pretty popular. So let's go to WordPress to create our first form. And let's create a form that allows visitors on your website to subscribe to your newsletter. First, we go to Settings and YouBaze to enter an email address. And this needs to be an email address you use in YouBaze, as response from this contact form will be emailed to this address, and you need to import the data in your YouBaze account, otherwise you cannot import it. After we've saved it, we can create our first contact form. And you do that in a widget. That's with Appearance, Widgets, and you need to add a widget. So let's call it Newsletter. Let's call it Newsletter and add a widget, which will be empty, by the way. And we will just drag and drop the YouBaze plugin, which we will find, or you will find, on the bottom left. Let's go there and drag and drop it into the widget. First field you need to fill in, it's important to know that the name should be exactly the same as in YouBaze. Contact type here is a group within your company, and we have created 5 groups by default in YouBaze, but you can create your own here. So if you do that, say you want to put subscribers of your newsletter in a special group, just give it a name. And let's call it Newsletter Prospect. Let's copy it for later purposes. And let's go back to YouBaze to check if that name already exists in the groups in YouBaze. So search for contact types or groups and choose Manage Contact Groups. Manage Contact Groups. As you see, we don't have a contact group called Newsletter Prospect, so therefore we need to add one. Let's click on plus, and I paste the name I just copied from the widget, so we know it's exactly the same, and set this group. Suppliers go to supplier. Once they turn into suppliers, automated emails to yes, nurture emails to yes, birthday emails to yes, and be sure you have newsletter email enabled, otherwise YouBaze will not add this contact to your MailChimp list. And we set newsletter print to no, as we don't have a street and house number. As we like to send people within this group newsletters with MailChimp, you need to link this group to a MailChimp list. You can choose an existing list or create a new one. Let's create a new one and see what happens. After you save this group and you go back to the list, you will find it on the bottom, Newsletter Prospect and the list ID. So you don't have to do anything in MailChimp. YouBaze will do that for you. Let's go back to the widget and continue with the setting of the contact form. Media source and terms of payment we don't need. First name basis instead of last name basis. And with email settings, you set the text for a confirmation email. And this email will be sent to the subscribers after he or she has subscribed. So you can just fill in the text you like here. We call it YouBaze Newsletter, and unfortunately you need to use a general salutation here. So we don't store the response in a database, so it needs to be a general salutation. Let's change the text a little bit and speed it up. And continue with the other form settings. Here you can add some CSS to change the design of the form a bit. Note we do use the typography you use in your theme, so that will be a bit the same, about the same. And you can name the form heading which will be on top of the field. So subscribe to our newsletter, and the submit button will be subscribe. And these fields will be used for messages after they have saved, and that can be a confirming message or a message when fields are mandatory but not filled in. So let's fill in the gender, call it male and female. We don't use initials and insertion, but I like to know the first name and the last name of this person. And of course, email is mandatory and visible in the contact form. So in these fields here we don't need yet, but I will show you later on in this video why this can be very handy for you. So let's save it, and let's create a new page to embed this widget in. Go to Pages, Add New, and give the page a name. In this case we call it Newsletter. Use Advanced Layout Editor, so we click on that one, and first drag and drop the layout element into your page. Choose 2 columns right now, otherwise the fields of the contact form will be very long, spread out the page. And then you go to content elements and drag and drop a widget area into the layout element, and choose the widget we just made called Newsletter. That's it. Let's publish it and let's view the page. Let's go up and click on View Page and see how it looks like. And there we are, our first contact form. So let's subscribe to our newsletter without entering a first name, so you can see what happens then. I'm a male and I will use david@youbaze.com and try to subscribe. But then again, that field was mandatory, so you will see this message, and I will enter my first name here and then subscribe, and then you will get this message: your message has been sent. So what happens when somebody subscribes? You don't want to copy paste it every time somebody subscribes to your newsletter. So we coded an import script, and how that works I will show you now. Let's go to email in the YouBaze account and check mail. So click on the envelope here, or just click on the check mail button, and there you are. We just received an email from the YouBaze plugin containing a contact.youbase file. When this file is attached, so when you see this file, you will see the import contact button. And if you click on that one, in this case I've used the david@youbaze.com email address. So as this mail address already exists, YouBaze will ask you to save it before adding the new item to your timeline. So if I save it now and I will go back to my timeline, you will see that this has been added to the timeline. As you remember, new contacts entering your YouBaze account through the newsletter contact form should be placed in a group called newsletter prospect. But in this case, David has already entered the customer group, so he's a customer. So YouBaze will overrule the plugin and keep David as a customer and not turn him into a prospect. That's why it doesn't change. So let's make another contact form. Say we want to create a complaint page where customers can fill in a complaint form. Let's go back again to WordPress, go to Appearance and Widgets and create or add a widget area. We call it complaint in this case. And again, like with the newsletter contact form, drag and drop the YouBaze plugin into the widget and we can start filling it in. We can leave contact type empty here, as people who complain high likely are customers and already exist in your YouBaze account, so we'll just leave it empty, like terms of payment, first name based, and like with the newsletter contact form, we enter the text here for the confirmation email, which will be sent after the complaint has successfully been processed. We call it your complaint and change the body text and set it to speed. We like to know if it's a male or a female. And let's make more fields visible and mandatory in this example. So let's add street, house number, and suffix. No, correct. Just undo that because I want to know the company name and let's say the department, which both will be mandatory, and I like to know the phone number and mobile of this person. So company, phone or mobile. Mobile will be mandatory then, which will be more important. Now, for some contact forms, you will need more information from your customer. So in this case, we like to ask them to attach a photo, which will be mandatory. It can be a photo of the product or maybe a photo of something else. We call it complaint. And here you can just enter some text. Let's say let's ask our customer, tell us more about your complaint. There you are. The default text will be a text which the customer can fill in, and here you can force the customer to add a picture, not force but ask politely, and just say attach photo or attach photo of product. The default text you can enter too. This can be overruled by the customer. He or she can just delete it, but you can add a default text here. So let's save it again and let's create a complaint page. Go to Pages, add new, and call the page whatever you like. Just like complaint in this case. And again, use Advanced Layout Editor, add a layout element, and drag and drop the content element widget area, and choose the widget complaint we just made. There you are. And let's publish it and view the page. Click on View Page. And there you are. And let's complain and speed it up a bit. So I will just enter my complaint about the weather in this case and add a photo. Which one? I'll make it something from the example company. We'll take that one. Yep. Now make it this one. And send it. So after the complaint has been processed successfully, the customer will get notified and see this message here, which I will change a bit now because I don't like it. It says message, but it needs to be complaint. So we go back to the WordPress widget and change the text into complaint. So your complaint has been sent. There you are. Save it first. So let's check mail again in our YouBaze account and let's see if we have any complaints. Click on the envelope again. And there you are. We received a complaint from David. Again, with a YouBaze.contact file and the photo David had to upload. So if you click on import contact now, you will see this email address doesn't exist in our YouBaze account. In this case, a new contact will be created, which you will need to save. Let's click on import contact. And YouBaze doesn't recognize the email address and says, hey, I will create a new contact form or contact. So you don't see the photo of the contact on the left side, which tells you that a new contact has been added or is being added. And after saving, you will see the avatar option again. So let's save it first. Let's say media source will be other. Save it again. And hey, newsletter print should be set to no because we don't have an address. And after you save the contact, the complaint has been or will be added to this timeline. So that's it for today. Thank you for watching and see you next time.